Let's go through an overview of the project wall. We're going to take a look at this example project, which is a website redesign project. And what this is in essence a chronological documentation of all the communications, posts, and replies that happen on a particular project from beginning to end by anybody on your team, as well as anybody on the client team or other teams. However many people and teams you want to add to this project, everybody will be able to post, reply, and communicate and see what everybody has seen and or posted onto the project wall. It's a very transparent way of working. There's no private conversations here whatsoever. Everything is visible to everybody else that's invited onto the project wall. So some of the basic things you'll notice in here is up at the top is the project title, and this is an editable area that you can always change at any time if you want to change the project title. There's also a status, which is defaults to welcome. You can change this to whatever you want. Not everybody uses this, but it's just a quick way if you wanted to notify the client or give them a message that's overarching to the entire project. You can do it here. You can say, hey, we've been waiting on this particular stage of the project, waiting on feedback. It's a quick reminder at the very top that you can always change this overall status. Otherwise, you can just leave it as is. Next, you'll see the project stage bar here. This is what you would select when you create the project. In this particular case, this is related to a web design project. So there's a discovery phase, a wireframes phase, the UI design, development, and then content. And this project is currently in the development phase as indicated by the green. Completed stages are color-coded in blue, and any future ones that are not completed yet are in gray. Now, if you were to define over here due dates for all of these, you would actually see the due dates show up on every stage here as well. And then you would have a progress bar that would show the progress between the previous stage due date and the current stage due date, and it would calculate the progress between them just to let you know a visual indicator as to where you're at in that particular stage. So additionally down here, this is where you fill out your two most important things, which is the start date, which automatically gets filled out, and the due date. Again, you don't even have to put a due date in here. It's just something that you would communicate with the client and you would be able to track based on that date. The project stage, these different stages can be changed at any time by you by switching it here. Okay, so what you would want to do is you go through the various stages of the project. For instance, when discovery stage is finished, and this was kind of like the last post that was related to this, and you say, hey, we're ready to get to the next stage, which is wireframes, you would just simply go and change it from discovery to wireframes, and it would update the stage and create a new block of content here, just like this. So these are all collapsible, as you can see. It's a quick, easy way to get to different parts of the project. Communication throughout the wall here is by collapsing or expanding them as needed. Another thing you can do that's personal to you here is to subscribe to the email updates or uncheck your subscription to those. So in other words, every time somebody posts something or a post or a reply or puts an attachment on the wall, you'll get a summary email notification in your inbox that lets you know that somebody did that with a link directly to this post that was created. Next is the teams area, and these are your teams that are set up for the project. You have your company team here and or internal team. It doesn't even have to be companies. Teams are just generic. It can be whatever you want. These could be different divisions within a company. These could be different freelancers or partners or contractors that you may use. You can create as many teams as you want. You can add anybody to a particular team. It doesn't even have to be from this particular organization. You can add somebody else to this team that's outside of the organization if you want. It's just a way to organize the groups of contacts here. Next, you'll see the estimate that's attached here. So this is a link to the estimate that was sent to the client and then approved by the client. And this is the same view that they would have in here. And why this is nice is because your team members can actually see the description and language that was approved for that project. So if the client at any time may ask for something that's a little different, they can always refer to this and say, hey, is that something we quoted, or is this outside the scope? Now, those estimated items that were part of that estimate actually appear down here, and these become trackable items as you and your team enter time and expense they will start to accrue here. So in other words, wireframing was 4.92 hours out of an estimated 6, so we were good, 82% of budget. Revisions, we were under budget. If anything was over budget, it would be indicated in orange, and you'd be able to see if there are any areas that were over budget versus under budget. And then you can always take a look at the totals down here, which show your progress overall in the project. And this is a good indicator to say, hey, this project is 41% of our budget. Are we roughly 41% done with this project? So this is a good indicator to always keep an eye on for you and your team members. So to create a new post on the project wall, you simply click up here and say, this is a new post. And for instance, you can have options to make a notification email go out. You can ask for approval on this if there's an attachment. Now, for instance, if you wanted to select files to upload, you could simply drag and drop a file in here, or multiple files, and they will upload and be part of this attachment. You can ask for approval on this post and or attachment, and you can even say, hey, when they approve this particular post and this attachment, let's advance the stage to the next stage. So if you say this is the final approval for UI design, if the client approves it, it will automatically advance the stage now from UI design to development. So it's just a quick, easy way to automatically advance the stage that way. So if you were to make an approval post, it would simply look like this. I'll quickly post this and delete it because this is a live project. So they will have a post that looks like this. It says approve and or modify. I'm going to delete this post real quick here since this was just a test. Now another thing that you and or anybody else can do is on any post, you can reply. And it works the exact same way. You can type in whatever you want in here, hit reply, as well as add attachments, again, to that reply, and do that as well. If you ever need to delete an attachment, you can simply delete it that way or cancel out of the post. And then any attachments here are viewable by you and or the client, and we'll get into the details of this attachments view in a separate video and go through all of the options available here as well. One other thing that you can do is if there are certain posts on a wall that end up being important to you, like for instance, here's an approval post that was approved and I want to be able to quickly get to these designs easily, I can flag it right here. So you can flag one or multiple posts very easily, and these are settings that are tied to just you and your account here. And then one of the greatest features of the wall is, especially when projects drag out or maybe very large projects and there's just lots and lots of communications on here, and it's sometimes hard to find things on a very long wall. This one is not too bad. There are some that go much further than this. So one of the great things you can do is you can go up here and search for a particular post with a keyword search very easily and click to jump to that post. Okay. Another thing you can do is search for a type of post. For instance, I can look for flagged posts like the one I just flagged, approval posts, posts with attachments, posts with links, and or status updates. So let me look for something that had an attachment only, and it'll show me all the posts that have attachments, so I can quickly filter my project wall this way. Another thing I can do is filter by a particular user from any of the teams. Let's say I'm looking for this particular user's posts. I can see all of her posts only. Okay. And then another nice thing is you can filter by a particular time. So let's take a look at just posts from this week, or maybe just posts that happened yesterday. Okay. And then I can combine these. You don't have to just do one drop down. You can say any posts that were from yesterday by this particular person. So this is a quick way to go through and filter a very long project wall and find exactly what you need very easily.